Right, this is Coach Jackie from Singapore, and we are very, very privileged to have our honored guest tonight who has been sharing on general health, especially in terms of how we take care of our immune system during this COVID-19. Right, it's a great blessing, really, to witness the growth of the community, and also it is the greatness and the heart of our author that we are going to interview tonight on his expertise in understanding humans' health and the various aspects of keeping our body healthy, especially during this COVID-19 crisis. And for those of you in Singapore, I know you're just as irritated as me, where we are going back to square one again tomorrow with no dining in, social gathering with only 2 people working from home. Right, we know it's a great frustration, but I think we all just have to hang in there to tide out over this period. In fact, you look at the statistics, we are actually much better off than many other countries in the world, and we are very close to having our population vaccinated at the 50 or 75% rate pretty soon. And we just hope that this pandemic will be over for many of us so that we are able to get back to life normally again. So just to illustrate, right, for those of you who have not been to our Zoom sessions before, this is your first time here, we know that you may want to record certain segments for your own use. We are okay, but please do not record it and share it to the social medias. That means any form of recording on Facebook, or rather any form of propagating it on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram is not allowed, because our author actually has IP rights to his content that he has been writing in his book. So this is a basic respect, and we are requesting everybody to adhere to this basic respect on this condition. If you want to share, just wait for 1 or 2 days when the recordings are ready and it's posted in the various groups, or if you're not a member, you can actually get it from your friend. Then you can actually study it on your own, right? We do have official recordings of this, right? Which we need to do maybe some basic editing, right? So the speaker and that we're going to interview today, or the author that we're going to interview today, is someone that has been around Singapore's arena for a very long time. He has written a book called Who Stole My Health in the Chinese version, and we're getting it translated to English. And if nothing goes wrong, we should be able to give it to you as a gift during Christmas. So we're going to have a simple lucky draw later, right? I'm going to tell you how it works. But during this time, let us understand from our master, right, who is a wellness and health advocate and a yoga master. He has been doing this not only in his yoga gym, but also on Facebook for the last 1 year plus during the pandemic. And over the years, he has written hundreds of well-established articles on health, on magazines, newspapers, and is often invited to Singapore's major TV media as a live guest speaker on many health major matters, right? Because of his understanding on how a human body works. Now, that itself is already a very difficult level to attain. Furthermore, he has been invited on public forums with doctors and medical developers to share and discuss his views, right, versus the doctors and the medical developers' views, right? That is another top-notch kind of expertise. So, you know, it's not easy to just talk to doctors. So he has really been very well versed in this wellness. And he has been appointed as an advocate for this curator as well. And he often shares a lot of health tips on social media, especially during this pandemic. So for those of you who are interested to follow him, later we'll give you his Facebook link, all right, his Facebook page link, and so that you can follow him and get advice from him as well. So this author is Edwin Low, and he came out with this book, 谁投资你的健康? So has been around for a while. We have the Chinese version, we are getting it translated to English, and both versions will be edited and revised to the latest statistics. So for those of you who are interested to get a copy of his book for free, right, please type in 1 in the chat group so I know that you are one of those who are waiting to get a copy of his book for free. All right, you just need to pay for delivery charges. All right, so we are going to sponsor you to get it. All right, we have a few people who wants it for free. Right, do we have more? All right, I think if we can see 80 or 90 ones, we probably will do something very, very special. Right, so for all our audience here, please lighten your eyes, clear your ears to help us bring on our author interview this evening, Edwin Low. Edwin. Hi, Edwin. Good evening. All right, we are not hearing you, Edwin, for some reasons. Strange. I think you need to put your mic. I think, yeah, there's a setting that you need to have. I'm 100% loud on my side here, but I'm not hearing you. Or is it my issue? Is everyone hearing him? No?
No sound.
Right.
No,
Okay,
no
now.
sound.
Edwin? No, we are still not hearing you. Sorry. Yeah, I'm seeing your mouth move as if you're just lip singing. Right, so Edwin is handling his mic, right? So let me just share with you a little bit more for the last 2-3 months of interviewing him. I just realized that this man is like a pyramid, all right, a pyramid of health, a dictionary, right, where you just have to find a way to ask him things that he does not know, which is almost impossible, all right? So I've gained so much knowledge about my personal health, my family health, just from these few interviews that we have done with him. And I'm very sure that our audience will be benefiting a lot in this short 1-hour interview. And in fact, he's so good that I've invited him even to speak to my parents in my homeschools so that they also benefit from his advice, which is happening next week on Monday as well. So for those of you who wants to learn more, especially for if you're a parent and with young kids, right, that may be something for you. So Edwin, is your mic okay now?
Can you hear me?
Excellent, very good. Thank you.
Okay,
thank you for being with us tonight. And we're really very blessed to be your host and also your interviewer. So maybe you'd like to share a little bit more about yourself before we go into some of the topics, right? So where do you come from? What's your background? And maybe you'd like just to share a little bit more of how you come into this big picture of being an author of such a in-depth book on health.
Okay. You know, I'm just a common person, you know, just like you and everybody else, you know. So in my world, for this life, I just work for people, you know, for an organization for 10 years, you know. My career background is the journalist, a news editor, you know, for the radio and TV for 10 years, you know. This is where I honed my skill in the translation. Yeah, I'm more or less quite effectively bilingual, but not that good, okay. My mother tongue, as you know, I'm a Chinese, you know, my mother tongue is Mandarin, okay, Chinese. For that 10 years, you know, being as a news journalist, because as you know, journalists can be very general and it can be very professional. It can be very specific and specialized in a several or certain field. It can be lacking in many others, you know. But as a news editor, I myself, you know, so I have to go through everything, you know, including the economy, sports, you know, political, you know, war news, whatsoever, everything, you know, the technology. But the problem is, you know, as a journalist, especially for the TV and radio news, you know, it's very hectic. Okay, we are working particularly round the clock in order to serve the news. You know, the news is supposed to be, as you know, new. Okay, but then again, it takes a lot of effort. At the time, you know, there's not so much a computer. we are using the telex. You saw the telex, you know, the paper keep on running, the kind of thing. So very interesting, you know. But the trouble is, because in order to keep the news, you know, particularly not 24 hours yes at the time, you know, so morning 6 o'clock until midnight 12. It's already keep us busy, you know, for the whole day, and it's very tough life. Take for example, if you are doing the morning 6 o'clock news, you know, I will be there at 4 a.m.
Wow.
I woke up at 3.
Wow.
I reach home only at 10. So how? You know the problem? So, and there's no such thing that holidays. I'm talking about following the routines of the people having the public holidays, because no, we take them. So for that 10 years, it's a very good experience in the you know, the learning and honing my skills and all this. And then subsequently I left. Why? Because I noticed in the newsroom, and my colleagues, you know, they are taking turn to fall ill.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So then I say, okay, this might not be suitable for a long term or, you know, the life kind of the employment. So I left after 10 years. So I went into, since that I love computer. Somehow I'm an art student, but I just love computer. So I established the former company specializing in publishing, desktop publishing, multilingual translations, and all this. Another 10 years. After 10 years, you know, the crisis came.
Yeah.
You know, what a coincidence. So I gather that because, you know, as life goes on, you know, you can't keep on changing life, changing your path. You have to have something that which is able to sustain for as long as possible. Okay, even better, you know, no need to change lane and no need to retire. So I, on a casual check, when I check with my friends and my former classmates, so I mentioned casually, since that time is about, you know, I've already in 10 years of the career, you know, as a journalist, as well as the 10 years in the desktop publishing, coming to that, okay? So I checked, is it, how many of you understand health? And how many of you, I only a handful, only 4 persons. At the time, I was only 40 something, okay? Not very old, right? Am I?
Yeah.
At the time, then I asked, you know, how many of you did not, you know, taking any forms of drugs? Might be to control blood pressure, to control the cholesterol. So I just raised my hand, you know, I thinking that I wouldn't be alone. But quite a surprise, you know. All my former classmates, you know, sitting in my office, all keep quiet and stay silent and look at me. So from there, I think he raised questions. That means that, you know, it means that people are taking drugs, and very soon, okay, very soon, as soon that I realized, because for me, even however, you know, so I'm saying that the 10 years in the news and 10 years in the my capacity as a boss of the multilingual publishing house, you know, I don't take drugs. I seldom fell ill, and for that 10 years, being the boss of the company, I not even have one day, you know, off the office. I work 365 days.
Wow.
It's very tough, you know, it's very tough. So I just mentioned that, you know, it's 1997, roughly around the time, you know, the crisis came. You know, that would be quite some time back. So I say, I can't forever keep on changing my lane and doing my, you know, keep on changing my work and job. So I say I want to do something which is able to sustain for as long as possible, which is meaningful to me. I need it. My family need it. My loved one need it. Also, the public need it. So I went into health. I plan to go into it. But prior to this, because I'm so used to say doing research and I'm not so writing at the time. Okay, as being a news editor, I need to write, but I don't think I'm good enough to have the capacity to be a writer, especially the author. But since I want to go into something which is particularly very new to me, because my study in school and the university, it's not in the lines of the nutritional, field. Okay, so it takes me another 1 year. Gather all the information, read as much as possible in the whatsoever languages that where I can understand, English and Chinese, and start to gather all the information and write the book. So this is the book, this is book. Actually, this is the study. This is like thesis. The beginning of the awakening of how to be healthy. So the process is not that easy. So awaken by what? Awaken by, the people surrounding me are taking drugs as if it's a norm. It's natural. To me, it's no. Since then until now, I'm still free of drug. There's no drugs for me. I have not been visiting my family doctors since 30 years ago.
Wow.
Okay. I think he completely forgotten me. Only one time when I want to, want to buy an insurance. So I went to look for him. So I presented my IC and it's already computerized. So he checked in the computer. Check. He said, there's no such account. There's no account that belongs to me. So then he asked me, when the last time you came to visit doctor? I say, it was about 15 years ago. So then the lady went to, the archive, the drawer, and take out the the records. So this is how, that one is also about, I think, about 20 years ago. Yeah.
Wow. So yeah.
Since then, the knowledge I gathered through this one and many sessions of the talks, public talks, the private sessions, also invited onto the radio to talk about the health. Since then, the information that I gather, the knowledge I gather, I keep myself free of drugs as well as the serious diseases until now. Okay. So I can't say touch wood, because now it's a pandemic. So this one is very helpful. And lest people think that this book is very complicated. No. Being a journalist, especially a TV and radio, we have to use so-called broadcast language. The broadcast language and as well as compared to the written language are different. Broadcast language, when you read up, in the first instant, you have to be understood. The meaning. You can't go second time and repeat. There's no chance at all. So I read in a very simple form. So for those interested, because I already edited and slowly, for the first few chapters, and I take my time because there's no hurry. Okay, so of course, there are people and my supporters are eager to have the book, but this time I hope that I can have a all-rounded and fully, to research and well-based kind of information. Of course, I wouldn't go into very much detail quoting here and there because it's not necessary. Because for this book, after published already, since then it's already, I think, more than 10 years. This one, because the first published one is in Taiwan. That one will be about 4 years before this. And this book is published in 2008, April the 1st. 2008.
It's almost 20 years already.
Yeah, sometime, So this 10 years is a good time, a good duration for me to put things into practice and receive the feedback and see how my body react to it. All right. So for this reason, I say that for these updates, after finish already done, I hope that this one will be useful to everybody. Okay, it's simple understand, it's more not very difficult.
Yes, we are looking forward to the revised version, which we know that there will be a lot of updates, right? There's no point giving our audience a 15 or 20-year-old book where a lot of information is already outdated. So for those of you who have already asked for the book, all right, just be patient, right? Because we do not want to give you something that is of substandard, right? Both Edwin and myself, we are very focused on making sure that the latest information is updated so that you have a book of treasure in your hands.
We must be happy about what we do, okay, before we can share with others.
Yeah. And then research, you know, is not easy, all right, especially at this kind of length. So today we'll be talking about this topic on carbohydrates. And I know that everyone understands what is called carbohydrates, but the thing is, why is it important to our health and how does it affect our immune system? And why and what kind of carbohydrates do we really put in? Because some people have told us it's no good, some people are telling us it's good. So there's so many different angles and information that we have been hearing about carbohydrates. So can you just enlighten us on this confusion?
It's quite confusing because we tend to throw everything into one. Is it carbohydrates? Carbohydrates is equal to sugars with S, you know. But sugar got different forms, so many types, you know. You got the galactose, you got the simple sugar, you got the, you know, the glucose, you got the so many, you know. How about lactose? Those end with OSE, lactose, you know. So long it ends with OSE. It means certain forms of the sugars. And lady also we have the so-called the you know, the extract, so-called corn syrup. You heard of it? High fructose corn syrups. You know, okay. And that one of course is from the corn. And there are so many things, but actually the carbohydrates essentially we can separate into say 3 types. Okay, make it simple. One is a simple sugars.
Okay.
Table, you know, the plain sugar, refined sugar, you know, the simple sugar. Okay. Also for that matter, brown sugar and also the so-called darker color black sugar. In Chinese we call it 黑糖. Okay. So they put it as sugars. Okay. Of course, honey also belongs to the sugars, you know, and also the fructose for the fruits also sugar. More or less simple sugar. But then another one is starches. Starches meaning is still belong, you know, if you go to right down to the simple form, after having digested, it will still belong to the sugar family. But then again, because of the, it has the more complex form. Like for example, it has fiber. Fiber actually is a form of sugars.
Oh, is that true?
Fiber, dietary fiber, yes. And because it's we call it complex carbohydrates as compared to the sugar that we call simple carbohydrates. So complex carbohydrates consist of the beans, fruits. Take for example the watermelon. You know, you together you eat with a rub, you know, and banana, okay, and carrots. Greens, veggie, you know, also the natural producers. That one, you know, if you eat it in the whole food form, that means it's in a natural form, it's a complex carbohydrates. It still have sugar, but then again, it has the additional nutrients. You know, we're talking about the perhaps, you know, more minerals, more chemicals, phytochemicals. You have it, the pigments, the colors. You know, and also the vitamins and so on and so forth. So this group of complex carbohydrates, even though we tend to put everything into one, but this complex carbohydrates actually is more life-giving than the simple sugars. Because the simple sugar itself is just give you the calorie, you know. So we take it that since that the when you feel weak, or you know somebody is sick, go into the hospital, you know, if you really lack of energy, they will start to have the drip, you know, having a glucose in the body and gather that glucose is good for us. When the body is in need of glucose, of course, the introductions of the glucose into the bloodstream or through mouth is beneficial. But the problem is, as we start to become excessive, too much of a good thing actually is not. It's not good for the body. So we have a simple sugar. You have the complex carbohydrates, so carbohydrates for that matter. So you have another dietary fiber that which is putting together with a complex carbohydrate. The dietary fibers that essentially is still a form of sugars. But this dietary fibers that the sugar cannot be assimilated, broken down by our digestive system. Thereby, it won't giving the problems, the damage that will be given rise due to the excessive consumptions of the simple sugars. Okay, so in that way, but the dietary fibers, once you go into the intestine, it becomes the house, the home, as well as the food for the good bacteria in there. So dietary fiber, is essential. So for that matter, actually, if you have a simple carbohydrates, simple sugars, and complex carbohydrates, the dietary fiber, no need, because if you take the complex carbohydrates, it's already there. So if you were to take, you love, the carbohydrates, actually you should go for the complex carbohydrates. I'm talking about the fruits, especially with the rough, because it contains the dietary fiber. I'm talking about the also the root veggie. I'm talking about the beans. I'm talking about the lentils, whatsoever you have. So long you eat in the natural state, cooked, whatsoever, it doesn't matter. It is good for you. Whereas the simple sugar is a process of the refinement. From the black sugar, if you go through the traditional way of the producing the plain sugar, you go for the sugar cane. Yeah, you go to the sugar cane or the beet sugar. So you go to sugar cane, you extract the juice and start to boil. Okay, heat it up, then the sugar will start to crystallize. The form is black. The black sugar further go through the process of the refining. It becomes, the color becomes lighter and lighter. It becomes a plain sugar. But in the process, many nutrients also lost in the process. For this reason, in those health shop, they now start to many years ago, they start to sell the molasses. Molasses actually is the sediments, okay, of the process of refining, turning the sugar in the natural state to become a plain sugar. Molasses are so much in the Latin America. Some country use the molasses to pave the road. But in this part of the world, we use it to supplement the nutrients which is being taken out. Okay, we are deprived of if you were to take too much of the refined plain sugar. Okay, molasses. Molasses in Chinese, we call it 糖原. Okay, that means the original state of the sugar. Okay. For this reason, the problems of our current diet is such, because if we were to eat the protein will come back. Yeah, come later. We're going to have another sessions of the interview. We have the fats. We are talking about three, the calorie intakes, the sources. We have the carbohydrates, starch, sugars, and so on and so forth. We have the protein and also the fats. The carbohydrates is the one that you can eat a lot and don't feel saturated. You don't feel saturated, meaning that you can continue to eat overconsumption.
Oh,
yes. Okay. For this reason, you look at the small little kids, they love sugar. They keep on taking sweets and all this. But when it comes to the main food, I mean, talking about the lunch and the dinner, they don't eat. You know why? Partly because their body is already saturated with the sugars. They lost their appetite. The problem is, according to the study, if we were to consume excessive simple sugars, you're going to have the spike, create the spike sugar, blood sugar fluctuation in your bloodstream, in your body.
Right.
That thing actually is harmful. That thing is very harmful. Partly because the spike of the blood sugar will start to stimulate the body, the pancreas, the beta cell, to excrete the insulin. Many people think that the functions of the insulin is to lower the blood sugar. No. Insulin actually is a hormone. This hormone's function is to drive the sugar into the cells. Oh. So if you have a person, he's already ingested excessive sugars, and all the cells is already flooded with excessive sugar in the cells, excessive insulin, however, the pancreas is working hard, even with excessive secretions of the insulin, will not be able to drive the sugar into the cells. So that condition will start to show up as elevated blood sugar, elevated insulin. So this thing cannot be continued for long, because based on the study, it takes only 7 days of flooding the body with the simple sugars. The cell will start to be damaged. Once you damage already, you will start to enter gradually into the pre-diabetic conditions. So if we're talking about this, basically we can say, generally we can say, all the people that were reaching the adulthood, including the youngster, which is reaching the adulthood, are actually in the states of pre-diabetic. It's very dangerous, because the moment the cells are really saturated with sugar, there are some mechanism there to turn the sugar into another forms of chemical molecule. But the molecule itself, because it's too big, cannot come up for the cells. So the cell is ready, the integrity is really compromised. And it will slowly degenerate into so-called metabolic syndromes. We will come to that, it might be in the next time. But the problem is, we love sugar.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, you drink coffee with sugar. Soft drink, a lot of sugar. Just now I went online to check about the status of the America. Averagely, they take about 24 spoons of the plain sugar per day.
Wow.
24 plain spoons.
That's a lot.
Day. That one is coming to about 400 cal. So which is a lot, excessive consumption. Yeah. And don't forget, how about other things that you eat? Take, for example, if you grill, talking about Americans or Western styles of the food, you take a piece of the meat to grill, to fry, then you apply the coats of sugar. We call it honey. Nobody will use the actual honey unless you do it at home. Otherwise, commercial will not use a true honey for you because it's expensive. So sugar. So when the sugar, now another problems. When you take the sugar in other denatured form, away from, say, just the plain sugar. For example, nowadays, many people love the caramel. You heard of it? 焦糖. In Chinese, it's very simple to understand. 焦糖, that means it's really charred sugar, burnt sugar. We love caramel. We got caramel coffee, we got caramel cake, we got caramel, so many things.
Yes.
Caramel is burnt sugar. The burnt sugar itself actually is unhealthy. Okay, excessive consumption can cause the mutations of the of your genes and of your cells. But then again, who cares? because the caramel itself also so popular that there are people even producing the health food. I'm talking about how about the soya sauce, fermented sauce. But in order to darken the color, to make people think that it's already go through the long period of fermentation, they start to put the caramel.
Oh,
yeah. That thing actually is unhealthy. Next time when we talk about burning the food, the sugary food, starchy food, food, as well as the burning of the proteins, what kind of chemicals can produce? Okay, this one will be shared next time. So then we start to understand why our newer, younger generations are having so much of problems. We are not just talking about the mutations. I'm not talking about the carcinogenic problems. I'm also talking about the inflammation. Because of the food you eat, which is so unhealthy, which is rich in a lot of free radicals, there is overreactive or oxygens. The body it will cause the body to inflame unless you take a lot of the antioxidants to counteract with it. Okay, so for this reason, for those people really taking a lot of meat, a lot of the food that are being treated with high temperatures, because all the food must have, would have starch, sugar, starch, and whatsoever you have. So if you were to take that, make sure you also take a lot of fruits and natural vegetables and drink good quality water.
So is that the reason why most of the Western kind of food always have this salad to go with it, so that when you eat all this junk or dirty food or bad food, you have the vegetables, the raw vegetables to actually complement, right? Is that why there's this kind of diet or this kind of set meals?
You're talking about a dietary part. I think yes. Yeah, Singapore actually we model our diets very closely with America, but we actually learn the wrong thing.
Okay.
The trouble, you look at them, they were to take the steak, they normally with the big bowls of salad. Americans love big bowls of salads. That salads, colorful rainbow colors of the salad actually help to to equalize or neutralize certain harmful effects of the food that are being burned to they eat. Yeah. But the problem in Singapore, we fail to teach, fail to give natural food to our young ones. Have you come across the parents? They have an infant baby, they use a formula and they taste a formula that is so tasteless, they start to add sugar and honey, thinking that it's good for the baby.
Yeah, I think I saw some articles on that.
Yes, that thing should not, because the baby should eat the natural food. If the sugar is the one that must have, the manufacturers of the milk formulas should have added it in there already. Why we need to have an additional? Because the moment you start to train to let the baby to have a sweet tooth, I'm sorry, next time they only want the sugar. They don't want other things. How about the vegetable? The same thing. The problem is on my generation, we love a vegetable. Now the problem is when we go out, we can't find a vegetable.
Yeah, true.
If you look at the noodle, my goodness, where is the vegetable? No,
Yeah.
But the problem is you need a vegetable. My kid's already 30 over years old. When he was young, until about 16 years, he did not touch fast food. No fast food.
Good. Yeah.
And also I make him eat vegetable. I do my own sprouts. I do my own, the veggie, okay. And then that he also learned to eat it raw. So actually the small little kids should be taught or actually not so much. That means we as adult parents, we eat healthily. Also, we give the healthy food to the young ones. Then it shouldn't have any problem. The problem is, on the contrary, we think that the taste itself is very important. Yeah. So I should say that, as you can see, from the trend, there will be more and more people having the diabetic and pre-diabetic conditions at the younger age. It's much younger. Their body start to feel, sooner as compared to the older generation. Yeah. So sometimes it's very, paradoxical, I should say. One time when I wrote an article going to be published by one of the magazines in Singapore, I took my laptop, I think I mentioned it before, to one of the fast food chain there, thinking that I can spend another 1 or 2 hours finish my article. So normally I don't take their fast food. I order the salad. I like their coleslaw. I love the perhaps the potato, Okay, later I come to analyze the potato, the problems of the potato, creamy kind of potato. So when I used to order that. So that time, the very day I went to the counter, I tried to order. The cashier said, no, we stopped providing the coleslaw. And I said, why? This is one of the most helpful food I can find in your restaurant. Then she said, because Singapore small little kids don't eat vegetable. So no more salad. Oh my goodness, So from there, since then I didn't go there already. No more food that I can eat, So where else I go? Now come to the thing we are talking about, carbohydrates. Okay. Yeah. When you want me to stop, let me just sing it to me. Okay. If the potato either bake or you steam it or you make it into, the potato, whatsoever you can call it, creamy type of potato, but it will take away the skin. You know what happens? It becomes simple starches. It becomes just like a simple sugar. So it means that if you were to eat the potato, you should eat it together with the skins. Okay. Just how I mentioned it, how to make the simple carbohydrate to become a simple sugar to become the complex carbohydrates, adding the dietary fiber. So in that sense, the potato, you need to eat together with the skins. The best way actually is to buff it with the additions of the fats. So the potato added together with the butter. I mean, I'm talking about the cow's milks, the butter made of the cow's milk or the goat milk, not the margarine. Margarine out again. Margarine is dangerous. We will talk about the oils when we talk about that. So if you have the potatoes and you have the oil, you can buffer it and slow down the whole speed of the assimilation. That means that you will not create too much excessive sugar spikes in the blood.
Okay, so which means to say the Western way of eating potato, which usually comes with the Western sticks, all that, with the skin and the butter that it is actually the right way to eat, which means that the way we Chinese eating is always wrong. We peel away the skin and we fry it, all that is actually wrong.
Wrong. It's the wrong way.
Okay. Wow.
But before everybody start to eat the potato with the skin, if you were to say tomorrow you're going to bake the potato, my suggestion is tonight you soak the potatoes. Because they spray a lot of the chemicals that were to slow down, to retard the sprouting process. Okay. So that are called chemicals. So you wash it, you brush it cleanly, soak it overnight, then tomorrow you can do it in whatsoever way you want to do it.
Okay.
The skin actually is much more wholesome than the meat in there. All right. The same goes to sweet potato. Sweet potato actually is much more wholesome than the potato.
Oh, okay.
You know why? Because you got a lot of the choices. But now I think the potato also got purple in color.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like the purple, the green,
The green.
yellow.
So if you're talking about sweet potato, you got a purple color. You're talking about the pigments, phytochemicals. We're talking about the antioxidants. You know, it's very powerful. You got the orangey sweet potato. That one is rich in beta carotene and other pigments which is helpful for your microcirculation. Yeah. Then you also got some other kinds of whatsoever that you can have it. So eat it.
But we get that usually from the stores. It's like all those bake over the fire kind. Is that good?
Bake is okay. It's just like I mentioned already, when you burn the carbohydrates, the sugars, actually it turn into some forms of the carcinogenic kind of substance, you know. So we try to avoid that. Maybe next time we talk about the cooking temperature, yeah, then we highlight why you should not burn your food. Yeah, that one could be very dangerous.
How about the steam? The steam kind of sweet potato?
Steam is okay. Actually, we come to the stir fry, quite hot. We're talking about the steaming, okay? It's much more wholesome and healthier than baking and roasting because you can't control. You know, people love the burning kinds of smell. You know, burn smell, yes. They love it. You know,
right? Yes.
That one I don't know because ever since a human being knows how to use fire, they burn the food.
Yeah, they burn everything.
Everything burn. No, barbecue also burn. You know?
Yeah.
So we try to eat naturally because you know the food itself. Of course, to be sure, there are some carbohydrate-rich food cannot be eaten raw. Take for example, beans. You know, you have to cook, well, soak for that matter. You know, but there are something that which is you can eat it raw. You know, some sprouts. Yeah, the green beans sprouts, it can be eaten. You know, alfalfa sprouts can be eaten raw, and there are many can be eaten raw. And how about the fruits? Banana actually during this COVID, you know, the pandemic period, there are some studies saying that, you know, the banana has certain substance ingredients that are able to fend off, you know, the virus. So go for that, you know. So by the way, just the excessive consumption, we are talking about the different categories of the carbohydrates and starches and sugars. Another thing is the quantity. For the quantity to stay healthy, you know, so I do the mental calculation and all this after juggling around for, say, I think more than 10 years. You know, the ratio of the three main you know, energy calorie sources, the carbohydrates can only to be about 50 to 60. If you look at our diets right now, our carbohydrates consists, you know, about it's about coming to 80 to 90%, especially for the youngsters. So this is a problem. So in order to avoid that, you have to eat, you know, full spread of the food, not just narrow down into certain food which is rich in just the starch, you know, carbohydrates and sugar, because otherwise you can't bring down the total consumed calorie from just the carbohydrates. You can't. So for this reason, I suggest you have to have your certain good fats in there, because if you cut down the carbohydrates, you got the shortfall in the energy requirement. You definitely have to come from other sources, you know, perhaps from the other. But if you were to choose between the simple sugars, okay, so simple, we call it simple carbohydrates, as compared to the complex, go for the complex. It's safer. It's safer. And when it comes to the carbohydrates, the digestion actually begins in our mouth. Yeah. So there are people eating, you know, without chewing.
Okay, I'm one of those. I don't chew my food.
Yeah. If you were to take, for example, you eat the noodle, rice, the digestion begins from the mouth. The saliva itself consists of the amylase, which is one of the digestive enzyme, which is able to break down the starch. If you don't chew it, have it well mixed with the saliva, the moment you swallow it into the stomach, it will sit there, won't do anything, because the stomach itself is targeted, primarily used for the breaking down, using the stomach acid to break down the protein. So that means your carbohydrate, if you don't take the opportunity to chew it, mix with your salivas, nicely thoroughly in the mouth, the moment you grow stomach, you have to wait. You have to wait until acid, they go to the small intestine, the pancreatic enzyme, also some other form, you start to do the breaking down again. Because the moment you go to the stomach, actually it won't work really. For this reason, for those people who like to eat bread, make sure you chew it. After all, when it comes to the components, the ingredients of the bread, the wheat itself is very acidic. And the protein in there, the high protein flour we use it for, to do the bread itself, actually is can create stomach trouble. If you eat the bread itself, just swallow this way, you're going to give, to make the stomach feel extra burden, So all this is food, chemistry as well as a food science. So you don't mix anyhow. But for those like to eat starch, anybody loves starch, Tonight I got no dinner. I have only 2 bananas. I just finished my banana in water. That's it. So 2 bananas, so that chew it. Otherwise, you have to wait until, acids from the small intestine. So this is very interesting, So for those, if we were to want to find out what would be the problems and what would be the, the common, the eating habits of the people, you just go to the supermarket. You look at those bestseller. Where to find the bestseller? Simple. Just side by side next to the counter, the cashier. Convenient, you can just pick up. You look at it, how many are there, the carbohydrates, sugars? A lot, So that one need to change, especially if the small little kids love the sugar, have to take it, because otherwise you're going to cause problem, especially the kids are really having the overweight problem, obesity. Obesity is one sign that you start to being compromised, because especially during this COVID-19, what happened? Excessive consumptions of the simple sugar tend to suppress the immunity. It means it causes more flu, infections, inflammation. So if you were to bolster the immunity, actually is to stay away, don't consume too much of the carbohydrates. This is very important, because it's a known immune suppressor. Yeah. So for this matter, what you should eat? Always eat together. If you were to eat your food, rice, together with certain fatty ingredients. Fatty ingredient can be in the forms of the oil, cooking oil, healthy cooking oil, can be in the forms of the butter, can be in the forms of the coconut oil, all this to cushion it. So because one of the problems of sugar, however you eat, you don't feel full. But the moment it mixes together with the fats, you can feel saturated quite quickly, and then you wouldn't have an excessive, eating kind of.
Okay. So Edwin, I would like you to stop here. For those of you who are still online and you want to get a chance to a book, all right, the book from Edwin, all right, we're going to have a very, very special deal for you right now. All right, I'm going to flash the link on the screen, and the first 5% that register on the form, you will get both the Chinese and English one for free. All right, so please get ready, your phones, your laptops, whatever. I'm going to flash the link very quickly. And I'm also going to type it in the chat room, right, before we get Edwin to conclude today's session. So ready? All right, let's get yourself ready. We're going to give the first 5% that completes the form, right? You just need to pay for the 2 copies, one in Chinese and one in English. All right, the link is already on the screen and I'm putting it on the chat room, right? Just click on it. You should go to the form. Once you fill it up, we will announce it at the end of this interview, right? So, Edwin, you have spoken so much on the carbohydrates, the simple sugars and all that. I think we more or less understand right now that we definitely need to chew, especially our food, the carbohydrates. Now, one last thing before we end this interview is, how do we determine what kind of food is good and what is not, right? Now, for the audience, you need to click the link. There's a form, all right? Once you click the link, it goes into a form. You're going to fill out the form, not on the chat, all right? You're going to click on the link or copy the link, put in the URL, and there's a Google form that you need to fill out. So we will only recognize those that fill out the Google form, right? Not on the chat, okay? So it's a URL, just click on it. You automatically go to a Google form, right? So yes, I mean, so how do we choose what kind of carbohydrates that is good for our body?
If you try not to be too particular, you make it simple, you know, so just eat the whole food. What is whole food?
What is whole food? I only know
whole. If you take the apple, eat the apple together with the skin, is whole food. If you take the apple, take away the skin, chop it, cook it, and make it into apple pie. Apple pie, you love it? You love it, right? Apple pie shouldn't be that sweet. That one is not whole food, it's a processed food. That means if we were to stay healthy, and also no need to pay special attention of the excessive consumption of carbohydrates, eat the whole food. Eat the natural food. Eat the food that where you can see, know from what. Take for example, if you can see it's a fish, eat a fish. Don't eat the fish ball. Fish ball is not the fish. No, because when I having a project that I have a restaurant, F&B, and the supermarket, we have the restaurant, so we got chef. So one of the chefs is very good at doing the fish ball. Okay, so of course, because I'm in charge, and I ask them, when they do it, try to use less additive. But they say without additive, tasteless. So you have to put additives. Okay, so for that reason, stay away from the processed food. Fish ball, fish cake is not a fish. Same thing, chicken nugget is not a chicken. Okay,
okay.
Not additives.
Potato chips is not a potato.
Yes, yes.
Okay, got it.
Then potato chips actually is not a potato.
Okay.
You know why the problem is? Because the potato, after the skin to it already, you take the starch, you have to go through the high temperature of the frying, the fat itself is not so healthy. And also the starch, with the temperature of above the 200 degrees Celsius, the one is causing a lot of problem. It produces a chemical we call it acrylamide. Acrylamide actually is a molecule away from plastic. That means you are eating the potato chip. If you eat a lot, that means you are eating the plastic. Yeah, it's dangerous. It's really dangerous. I mean, talking about plastic, I'm talking about acrylamide. Actually, itself, we call it, it's an environmental hormone. In Chinese, we call it 环境荷尔蒙. It's a pseudo hormone. So for those small little kids, the kids love potato chips. Yeah, so they eat a lot. The moment they have it, it's an endocrine disruptor. The moment you go to the body, you tend to disrupt the natural hormone secretions and uptake of your organs, developments of the glands and all this, and it affects the developmental stage of the children.
Yeah, I see.
So sometime, you know, if you look at based on observation, this one might not supported by the statistic, you know, is nowadays you look at a lot of people, I mean, youngster, you know, especially the male, start to behave like girly like kind of, you know, neutral, 中性人.
Okay.
Yeah. Because when it comes to the hormones, endocrine disruptors, normally the man, you know, is more susceptible as compared to the female. But then again, you look at a lot of the ladies also start to behave like a man.
Okay? Yeah, correct.
So it's a conversion. That one is a serious agreement. Yes, agreement. Yeah.
Okay.
So eat back the whole food, please.
All right. So thank you very much. And right, we are going to flash the winners on the screen. Right, this 5 person, you have 2 books, right? Both the Chinese and the English version, right? These are the 5 winners, the first 5 that fills out the form. So for those of you, I'm sorry, you will not be able to copy your names, all this on the phone. You need to fill out the form, we need your particulars, then we can ask you to just pay for the delivery fees, all right? So these are the 5 that, again, both the Chinese and English version free. We are doing our very best to give it to you as a Christmas gift, all right? So it's a lot of hard work that both Edwin and I are doing to make sure that this book is really the updated one, right? So you don't have to worry about the delivery fees. Our team will actually WhatsApp you to give you the details on that, right? So now, thank you very much, Edwin. I think you may have a deeper understanding of carbohydrates, which is the topic for today's talk. And for those of you who are bilingual or you are in China, you want to know about more in Chinese, this coming Saturday, we're going to have it in Chinese, and we're going to talk about 蛋白质, which is protein, right? Yes, all right. So which is also a very important part of our diet. So having good food or whole food in terms of carbohydrates keeps our body healthy, but the proteins is the one that will sustain us. And we're talking a lot about proteins, especially right now in this pandemic. I think the last 1 year, a lot of us starts to understand more about protein because of the vaccine and the virus that is attacking us. So we will bring this topic for you in English in August. So every month we're going to have 1 session in Chinese and 1 session in English. So for this Saturday night, we're going to have it in Chinese on the topic of proteins. So you can get your friends who are interested in health to have exclusive understanding of it through our author, Edwin. So Edwin, thank you so much. And before we end, can you just share with our audience, if there are only 3 kinds of food, really food that is really good of body based on this category called the carbohydrates, which are the 3 top food that you recommend us to take on a daily basis?
If I were to take it, you know, for myself, you know, so I'm not so worried about the calorie because it's together with the whole food, you know. First thing, if it's very simple one, you know, give yourself a plate full of the salad, you know. Dressing, do it yourself. Don't use the commercial one because that one could be dangerous. We will come to that when talk about the fats and all this. Okay, give you a full plate of the salads. Okay, to begin your morning. Yeah, if you think that it's too westernized, with the porridge with vegetable. Okay, that one will be wholesome. Okay, I'm talking about the diet at the Eastern, you know, Oriental way of eating. Porridge. And also this one. And I would do, if we were to go on the diet, I mean, talking about eating too much and all this, I would say a simple juice, carrot and apple juice. Carrot juice is rich in the carbohydrates. Carrot mixed 1 part with 1 part of apple juice is very wholesome. It's very alkalizing, and it powers your body up and gives you a lot of the unwavered focus. That means, you know, in the morning, you should not just eat the bread together with eggs because it's too heavy to prepare that day in and day out for your small little kids, especially those are schooling one. They feel very drowsy. You give them the fruit juices. I'm talking about naturally squeezed, not the bottle kind of the soft drink, you know, type, you know. So the carrots and apple juice, you power up them. Okay, it's a good sugar and not so heavy. Yeah, so you will still worry. Okay, just give 1 or 2 bread. The juices should come before the bread. not the other way around. Juices should come together with warm water, whatsoever. If not, then banana will still help. Okay, so these are the very simple one. Because if you can go into a more complex one, do your own, prepare your food spreads for the breakfast, why not? You know, but basically this is how I do it. I do my own bread using my own. I cultivate my own sourdough. Okay, it means in Singapore next time perhaps I can share with you. You know, because it's in my fridge. I use it to do my homemade bread with my own formulation. With just a bread machine can do a very wholesome bread already. You know, this one is again I'm using the wholemeal flour, unbleached flour. Bleaching is unhealthy, so unbleached flour. I'm also putting in the lecithin and a lot of ingredients to make it wholesome. Partly because you know, if you know how to do your own food, basically your health as well as loved one's health will be safeguarded. Yeah, so you can eat it very simple, not to worry. So next time when it comes to the fats and all this, I will give you how to eat it together with some fats and all this, and keep yourself power up and still maintaining your weight. You won't you won't put on weight. You will want even with through the powers of the proper eating, actually without diet, you can slim down if you discipline yourself.
Okay, I definitely need that. I think anyone in the audience is like me, where you really need to slim down without putting in a lot of effort, right? I've been trying that for the last 1 year plus, and my weight just went up instead of going down, you know? All right, so if you are like that, can you just put a 2 on the chat so that we know that we are actually the same, huh? And we need to look forward to Edwin sharing to help us to reduce our weight and live healthily, right? So I'm definitely one of those that need to reduce my weight without putting in a lot of effort. Just put a 2 in the chat so that we know that you are on the same page. So Edwin, really thank you a lot for your in-depth sharing just on one simple topic called carbohydrates. And we're looking forward to a more meaningful session this Saturday in Chinese version on 蛋白质 proteins. Right, so for those of you who have enjoyed it, just give Edwin a good hand by typing in the 888 in the chat room so that we know that you have appreciated and understand and benefited from this session. So it makes us more motivated to bring it back more often in the future. Right, thank you, Edwin. Really appreciate your time. Right, and we will end the session in the next 1 to 2 minutes. For those of you who still wants to order the book, all right, I'll just flash the link on the screen again so that you can actually order the book. But right now there is no, what do you call that? There is no winners, all right? That means you only get either one of the books for free. Just pay for the delivery, all right? So I'm going to flash it up here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. Take care. Good night. Thanks, Jackie, and every one of you. Stay healthy.
Right. Yes. Stay healthy. Right. Please make sure you stay at home. Those in Singapore, right? Don't run anywhere. They're now entering phase 2 again. Right. Frustrated, but I think this will help us. Yeah. Right. Thank you so much.